Welcome, everybody. Now, tonight, we want to find out from you, Jeremiah, on this incredible subject. How do we fight fair? Uh, do we put boxing gloves on and then say, have a good one? How do the kids really work this whole thing out? So, will you take us on this journey? Take a little time and explain to us how you see things. You've got five of your own kids, and how do you deal with all of that? Go
You
ahead.
bet. You bet. All right. Well, let's get started then. Thank you so much, Paulus. Well, welcome everyone tonight. We're going to be talking about how to fight fair. And the theme, of course, with that on the side is family feud, how to fight fair. And of course, that's, challenging. I like what Paulus was saying there. Do we put the boxing gloves on or do we do old fashioned, good old street fighting there? Go old school. Well, either way, they can both hurt. They can both create its own unique challenges. And, of course, this is a topic that, whether you may or may not be aware of, is a huge topic. Okay. So, really, what I'm doing tonight is just kind of introducing a concept, some themes within that might lead to some other questions that maybe I'm not going to get a chance to talk about tonight, but definitely we can expand on during the question answer period. And along with those questions, from there, we can then maybe look at some other ways, but it's definitely the beginning. Okay. And it's interesting, when I started even planning this, I ended up with what I realized could probably easily be an hour, 2 hour presentation. So I had to chop it all down into just a nice little friendly conversation for tonight, just to at least introduce this concept. So depending on the popularity and interest further in this, it might lead to a part two, who knows? Or I guess in the boxing case, we'll call it round two next time, you know. But that being said, I'm just going to open up my screen share here and we'll kind of get started. Just have a small little PowerPoint. Really, it just helps me to stay focused, and we'll go from there. So Family Feud is a show I grew up with watching. I mean, Paula said it, so it's no secret. This show has been around, probably at least 50 years, if not 45 years at least. Okay. It's a show that was on in the States. You'd have two sets of families, groups of five that would get together. They'd answer questions, and whoever got the questions that were closest to the answers from what other people were given based on surveys, whatever the survey said, whoever got the most would win. Yay. And they'd win whatever the prize money was for the day, or the prize and stuff like that. And this show has gone on. I think they're on like their third or fourth host. So this show has been going on forever, and I believe it is still going on. So it's just kind of a fun little thing here. So I had a little bit of fun. Family Feud Live, how to fight fair. So just a few little, for fun, copyright infringement. I mean, a little bit of fun logoing here that I had with the screen title. But beyond that, we want to talk about what I call the rules of the game. When we're talking about a family feud, and who knows, you don't need just two families to have a feud, okay? You can just have it within your own family unit, okay? But to win this game, okay, you must know the rules of the game. So that's kind of the premise we're going with tonight. So to start off with, what are some of the rules of the game? Number one, we want to beware of adrenaline. Okay. You see, what happens is when we start getting in conflict, when we have a disagreement, when we have something that maybe I have a motive of something I want, maybe someone else has a motive of something they want, all of a sudden, this little thing in the back of us, behind our back on the left-hand side, all right, above the kidney, is this little butterfly-shaped thing called the adrenal gland that's spitting up chemicals like adrenaline that's shooting throughout our body, but also shoots within our head. Okay. And that specifically, one of those areas connects to a different part of our body called the amygdala. This is a picture of our brain. Now, I was thinking of superimposing a picture here, but it didn't quite happen. So we're just going to go with a nice boring picture. But this is whoever this person is in this little centered part. All right. This is a side view. If you were looking at me directly, if I were to take my fingers, put it between my ears and touch, just behind the nose eye line area is this little tiny dot thing called the amygdala. All right. And that's one of the areas that adrenaline, the chemical part that's shooting in our body, is touching. And this is where we get what is called oftentimes a fight or flight response within ourselves chemically within our body. So in other words, when somebody gets in a conflict, one or both, someone's going to end up in either a fight mode, put on the gloves or without, or they're going to be in a flight. I got to get out of here. I'm not safe. I'm not dealing with this. Now, oftentimes, if someone's kind of stuck in the middle, they have another term that we'll talk about sometimes, and that's called freeze, which is a term done with studies on animals, you know, or even people. This is the concept where if a bear was suddenly to attack you, play dead, because that's the freeze factor. I can't run. I can't fight the bear. I'm going to freeze. I'm going to play dead. And maybe he'll kind of play around with me a little bit, and then he can move on, and then I can kind of slowly go get to the hospital to hopefully feel a little better. So that's where the freeze comes into play. I don't know what to say. Okay. And so that freeze could be either I'm about to lose my nut, and if I don't freeze, I'm going to create damage, and that's going to be bad. Or I need to run and get out of here, but I can't get out of here, and that's where I'm going to freeze. So just a little bit of understanding chemically what's happening within us. But this leads into a kind of an interesting intro topic to the concept of family feuding, okay, when we're talking about family feud and how to fight fair. Because you see, every good feud begins with key players, okay? So let's take a look at some of these key players. Could be the traditional husband and wife matchup, okay? Maybe it's the mom with their child or the teenage child, okay? Maybe get some feuding happening there. Maybe it's dad and the child or teen. Maybe it's the child to child, or what we call sibling rivalry. Or put it all together, and together we get a family feud. And the whole family is maybe talking a little more louder, maybe a little more aggressively, maybe crying, maybe running away, not wanting to deal with things. What is that about? How do we then fight fair? So in order to do that, let's introduce, tonight I'm going to introduce two teams in this game called Family Feud and how to fight fair. First one is what I call Team Pursuer. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Who is the pursuer? Then the other team is Team Runner. So we've got Team Pursuer and we've got Team Runner. So with that, let's talk about what do you mean Team Pursuer, Jeremiah? Let's talk about what a pursuer is. Okay. So a pursuer is someone who kind of maybe a little bit exaggerated, but maybe not. This is a person who's got 10 to 20 things that need to be dealt with. Okay, I've got this. We've got to talk about bills. We've got to talk about the kids. We got to talk about maybe some COVID. We got to talk about, do we do this? All these life things that are in the way, and we got to deal with it now. Okay, the pursuer might also be someone who oftentimes tends to be they think fast. They're quick-witted, okay, just always spinning their brain. I lie down in bed, I got all these different ideas and I got to think, okay? As a generality, this is the person who needs resolve now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. We're dealing with this, and we're dealing with this now. The other person is the runner. Okay. Now, of course, we can have a little bit of combos, but oftentimes as a generality, you'll find in a feud situation, you'll find a pursuer and a runner. So what's a runner? The runner is a person who can only deal with one or two things that need to be dealt with immediately, or they feel extremely, very overwhelmed. Too much information running through my brain. Too much information, it is driving me insane. All right. Now, oftentimes, the runner tends to be slower in thought. Now, that does not mean that they are stupid or less intelligent than the pursuer. It just means how they are thinking can be a little bit different. They're slower quite often in making quick decisions. They're very methodical in their approach and how they think and how they work through things. Okay. Another word along with methodical could be analytical in their ways. Okay. Got to think things through. Take it easy. Take it slow. This is the person who goes, I need this resolved later. Much later, please and thank you. It's all good. We'll deal with this later. You know what? Let's sleep on it. We'll deal with it maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. We'll get around. We're going to get around to it. We're going to deal with it. Don't worry about it. It'll all come together. It's all going to be good. So the pursuer versus the runner. And if we can start recognizing that within our family units, as I like to say, that's literally half the battle.